Donna. Next writer is Julie Brandon. Julie Brandon is a poet, playwright, lyricist, and writer of all things. Her short stories, The Last One In and Family Secrets, have been published in Corner Bar magazine. Nothing to Dream About will be published in December. You can find her poetry in Awakenings Review, Poetic Magazine, Shaman, Love's Last Chance, and Bewildering Stories. She's especially fond of A Is Not for Apple and But What Results. Over the last few years, Julie's writing has included short monologues. They've been published by Fresh Word Horror Anthology and Theater Unbound. Several will be performed by Equity Theater in New York this December. Under My Skin was performed by New Deal Theater in 2021. She's always considered herself a playwright first and foremost. Two of her one-minute plays, Clean as a Whistle and Old Friends, were published in 2023 by Mini Plays magazine. Tree City Playhouse produced Can You Get There From Here, and Westchester Civic Theater produced Cup of Joe. Her favorite, Have I Got a Deal for You, and One Thing More. Julie has a BA in English Literature from the University of South Florida. She's also busy as a composer and lyricist, and she resides in Downers Grove, Illinois. So please welcome her to the podium.
Thank you. I'm busy. I write a lot. I have a job too, so there you go. First thing I'm going to read to you is a story called Nothing to Dream About. It's a very short story. It will be, this December, it'll be published in Corner Bar magazine. Jack had to escape. This was no hospital, it was a prison. He started to watch the woman more carefully. Her words were correct, but the inflection was off. Jack could swear that just below the collar of her white buttoned-up blouse, a faint glow pulsated. It seemed familiar, but he couldn't place it. Now, at first, the lights were on constantly, bright, intrusive. Once he complained that he wasn't able to sleep, they were dimmed, but never turned completely off. He craved the dark, but learned to burrow beneath the thin beige cotton blankets. Getting away consumed his every waking moment, a plan. He needed a plan. It was difficult to time the woman's visit without a clock, but he soon got the feel for her schedule. 3 meals a day were delivered. And once a man came in and he asked how he was feeling, other than that, just the woman. Always the woman. She never looked him directly in the eye, and every time he asked when he could leave, she told him he wasn't well enough yet. The hell with that. Jack knew that if he didn't escape, he'd spend the rest of his life there, and he didn't even know why. One evening, the man brought him dinner, and Jack asked where the woman was, and the man shrugged and said he didn't know. When he left Jack's room, he didn't shut the door completely. Jack paced the small room for hours, watching the door, sure that someone would catch the mistake, but no one came. This was his opportunity. He had no clothes other than the pajamas he was wearing. They had taken away his street shoes, and the slippers he wore had hard heels. If he wanted to be silent, those would have to stay behind. Jack crept to the door and slowly opened it. The dimly lit hallway was empty. He could just make out an exit door to the right. Okay, it was now or never. Taking a deep breath, he tiptoed down the corridor. The exit door didn't look like it was wired with an alarm. Maybe no one ever got out. Jack quietly pushed it open, stepping out into an empty parking lot that was surrounded by dark warehouses. A steady rain was falling. Staying deep in the shadows, he skirted the parking lot until he found an opening between the looming buildings. Excuse me. Jack didn't hesitate. He ran through the alley until reaching the city street at the end. Strange, but there weren't any cars. It didn't matter, he was free. Jack turned right onto the sidewalk and kept running, his bare feet making a slapping sound on the wet concrete. As he reached the next corner, he heard them. Jack! Jack! They called, or he had to keep running, or he'd never be free. Aiden pushed the button again. Jack, wake up! Nothing happened. Mom, I can't get Jack to start, Aiden whined. Aiden's mother entered the room. Well, maybe it's time for a new one, she said. The LED lights began to glow and the JCK-14 opened its mechanical eyes. See, Aiden, it's fine now. Aiden patted the JCK-14 on the shoulder. What do you think happens when he's shut down? Does he dream? Aiden's mother looked at the JCK-14 for a long moment. Of course not. It's just a machine. What could it possibly have to dream about? Hurry up or you'll be late for school. She turned off the lights as they left the room. Faintly glowing, the JCK-14's blank eyes stared at nothing. Excuse me. The next thing I'm going to read is a very short monologue. I was writing monologues, a lot of monologues. They want a minute and a half, 2 minutes, which is funny because I'm a talker, so for me to be able to write short things always amazes me. But this one was for, there's a theater called New Deal Theater, it's in New York, and they had prompts, and the prompt was plants. So I had to write something that had to do with plants or around plants. It's called, okay, sorry. I remember exactly the last time I saw him. It'll be 5 years this spring. Things felt so alive, fresh. You know how it is when the snow melts. I was just glad to feel the sun upon my face. God, it had been a long, cold winter. We fought about every little thing, plus he kept pressuring me to move in with him. I suddenly developed allergies. He'd lean in to give me a kiss and I'd start sneezing. He joked that I was allergic to him and we'd laugh. Runny nose, itchy eyes. Hell, I even had hives. It was crazy. Anyway, after a while, it wasn't so funny. And allergists ran all sorts of tests but couldn't figure out what was going on. Then he got it into his head that I was doing it on purpose. Like I enjoyed not breathing through my nose for days on end. It's damn near impossible to be romantic when one person is always reaching for the Kleenex box or an inhaler. I tried everything. I vacuumed the house every morning, replaced all the bedding I even moved my plants outside onto the balcony. I showered twice a day in case I was picking up pollen from outside. Nothing helped, and he became more and more distant. One day, after I had sneezed myself dizzy, he told me he was going. Just like that. No conversation, no argument. He walked out and never came back. Funny thing, neither did my allergies. Let's stop talking about him. It makes my skin itch. This is my favorite poem, and this is the first thing I ever had published several years ago. It's kind of going through a slightly dark time. I'm not dark anymore, so it's okay. A is not for apple. It's not for albatross or aardvark either. Alone. Alone in the deepest, darkest place of my soul. In some past life, or the one before that, a million lives perhaps, someone left a thumbprint marked alone in my being. Try as I may, I cannot erase it. No matter how much therapy, self-help books, workshops on self-actualization, sweat lodges, prayer, or meditation I do, it remains. All that changes is my wallet is a little lighter and I feel a little foolish. Alone. By all standards, my life is good, surrounded by love and kindness every day. But I know that I wear an invisible A upon my chest. I can always spot another. We pass and nod, seeing each other's pain, but unable to assist in the emotional surgery needed. When I try and explain, people tell me I have lessons to learn in this life and I should be grateful for the experience. Really? Grateful for the monster in my closet that whispers into my heart that all is fleeting, that I am alone, set adrift on an ice floe with no map or paddles? It's hard not to shout and call them the fools they are, to hide the weeping, the longing, the need. I don't want comfort, I want change. I want the darkness to become light. But I agree and smile and attempt to sweep my fears away like crumbs off the kitchen table. So I pray to God, the goddess, anyone who has clout, that in my next life I will find that the lessons have been learned, the pain and fear removed, and then A can be for apple. Yeah, it's my favorite one too. A short monologue and a short poem. This one was for, during COVID, a lot of things were done, of course, as we know, online. So there were a lot of writing groups, and there were a lot of, there's a lot of theater all over the place that wants things from people. And I do tend to write more plays. I write short plays. So, but this one was for having to do with change. It's called Number, Please. Anyone sitting here? Thanks. What number do you have? 42. Oh man, mine's 68. Looks like I'll be here for a while. I just didn't realize it'd be so busy. I guess it makes sense that since they were closed for so long. I need to change my name and address. I filled out the forms and I think I did them right. I'm so rattled right now. I would have completed them online, but I was afraid I'd make a mistake. It seems like my whole life is one big, stupid mistake lately. You know what I mean? Well, of course, you can't really know what I mean. How could you? We're complete strangers. I never liked this picture anyway. Maybe I'll get a new picture to go ahead with my new life. You know, I could just pick up and go, pack my car, drive far away. There's nothing to keep me here. I can do my job anywhere I can get Wi-Fi. Maybe this is just the opportunity I need. The big push to get out and see the world. I'm not that old yet. My kids moved away, my parents are gone. Why do I stay here? Habit, I suppose. Ooh, I could get one of those tiny house things. Get rid of all my stuff and park it wherever I want. I'd be free as a bird. I'd have money saved. Wow, maybe this is a good thing. Oh, hey, I think they just called your number. Have a good day. Excuse me? Oh, no, this seat isn't taken. What number do you have? 81. I have 68. Looks like you're going to be here for a while. By the way, do you know anything about tiny houses? As I was approaching middle age, which I've now passed, I wrote this poem. It's called Life in Between. Fearful of dressing too young, cautious not to look like my mother, I'm stuck in the twilight zone of middle age, neither young nor old. I straddle a delicate line somewhere between stilettos and orthopedics. My curves, well, lately I feel matronly. My curves have become more generous. Rubens would have loved me. My body slides downward like slow-moving lava. Nothing is where it used to be. My lap is full of me whenever I sit. Midlife doesn't have its own rewards. Elderly men think I'm a babe, and gray is the new blonde. Thank you.